Hi, I'm Connie. I've asked to be here to share my story, and I'm going to go ahead and do that for you right now. I was born in South Lake Tahoe. I have a very large family. We're a family of 12, 7 girls and 5 boys, 2 who are half-brothers. We were kind of a dysfunctional family. My dad was, he was unapproachable, and he had a lot of anger and hurt inside of him. But he was a good dad. He was the best dad he could be. He, provided for us. My mom was, my mom was really special. She loved God. She loved her kids, and she really did the best she could for us. But we grew up very poor, so I had a lot of insecurities growing up. I'm third from the youngest, so my sisters at a very young age decided to leave home and get married, and I wanted to be just like them. I did not want to, I had no goals other than getting married and having kids. It was kind of our culture growing up that way. Women didn't work and the dad did, and so that was what I wanted to do. So I was very anxious to get out of the house. So at 14, I met somebody who was 23, and I decided that I wanted to marry him. So we went to Nevada. I ran away and went to Nevada and got married. And at that point, that began 3 years of abuse. It got so bad that I knew he would probably end my life. So I decided that I would end my own life. But God didn't allow that to happen. He stopped that, and because he wasn't finished with me yet. And so after 3 years, he removed me from that situation, and I was able to move on with my life. And shortly after that, I met a man, Marty. We met roller skating. I winked at him. He asked me to skate. And for the next 41 years, we were together. And 3 years in, we started our family. We had our oldest son. And then 11 years later, we had our second son. And I was so happy. I was determined to give them a better life than I had. And I wanted so much to not let them follow in my footsteps and make the mistakes that I did. So I became very controlling over their lives, which was really difficult for them. But, we made it through. They became fine young men. My older son loved martial arts. He loved karate, so he had a ministry in karate, and he used to go and minister to kids at school or in parks, anywhere they would let him go, he would go. It was their group was called Ransom, and so they did a lot of that. And so he had his ministry. He met a girl. He got married. They had a daughter. He had a good life. My younger son was working. He was in college. He was working 2 jobs, and he was engaged to his high school sweetheart. So life was good, and it was nearly perfect, or it seemed to be. And then both of them suffered from back problems, as their dad and their grandpa did. And they both sought out help from chiropractors. They tried acupuncture, but nothing was successful. So they went to their regular doctor, and their doctor prescribed them pain medication, which was oxycodone. And neither them nor I knew, we didn't know how addicting that was. It was... we didn't know it was going to take more and more to get the same effect. So I began to see them changing, but in my perfect world, I didn't see it. I didn't understand what addiction was. And so I buried my head in the sand, and I didn't get them help when they needed it. So having my kids, I had 2 major fears. One was that they would use drugs or alcohol, and the other was choking. When my kids were little, they choked a lot, so that was like a really big fear. So my kids became addicted to oxycodone, and my husband Marty was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And one of the first symptoms of Lou Gehrig's is he couldn't swallow. So he choked a lot. So my two worst fears came to pass, and I felt like Job. I felt like, oh, all my fears, all I feared have come upon me. And so the ALS eventually took Marty's life, and I was devastated. I was hurting. My sons were falling apart. Their lives were falling apart, and my life fell apart. But I put on my mask, and I just pretended everything was okay. I didn't let anybody see the pain that was inside of me. So, and I always trusted God. I believed God was going to heal my boys. I never stopped praying. I never stopped believing that God was going to take care of them. But you never know how God's going to answer a prayer. So a year after my husband died, God brought Jeff into my life. He's my new husband. And he noticed, he could see what was going on with me and my boys. And he said, I think you need help. And I didn't like hearing that because I thought my life was perfect. And I, even though I knew it wasn't, I portrayed that. And so I was very angry, and it caused a lot of problems in our marriage. And he asked me if I would go to counseling, and I said no. My sister Becky had gone to CR, and I thought about it, but I didn't really think it was for me. So in 2021, I started hearing about CR again, and decided, I thought, well, maybe God's showing me something here. And so one morning in prayer, I was praying, and God spoke to my heart, and he said, do you want your pride to keep you from your healing? And I thought, oh my gosh, this is pride that is keeping me from getting help and getting the help that I needed to be healed and to help my kids. And so I called Donna Mae, who was the lead at that time at CR. They had just started here at Foothills Church. And first thing I asked her was, are there old people who go there? Because if there aren't, I'm not coming. I am not going to go. And she was really super nice. She said, there are all ages who come here. And so I said, okay. So that Sunday, I did not know it, but there was going to be a panel of people from CR at our church. And I spoke with Donna Mae after that. And then the next Monday, I was in CR. And with my husband came to support me, and my sister Becky came to support me. So off to CR I went. I started The Journey Continues. I started a step study right away. I started The Journey Continues. And then after that, I co-led a group study because I wanted to give back to people and help them with their hurts and their habits and their hang-ups. We all have them. And I wanted to give back because through The Journey Continues, there was a lot of healing. God started doing so much in my life. All the fears that I had, He gave me peace. He started working in my boys' lives. He started restoring mine and my marriage with Jeff. He gave me back my granddaughter. I wasn't able to see her for 4 years, and He restored our relationship. So God has done great things in my life, and CR was just the stepping stone that I needed to get on with my life and begin the healing. I just encourage anyone who is hurting. It's not just for people with addictions or habits. It's for anybody who is hurting, and I found that out. So the Lord was restoring my marriage. Jeff and I started counseling. So through the Lord, through CR, through counseling, our marriage just keeps getting better and better. And about 4 years ago, God gave me a scripture. It's Joel 2:25. And He said, I'm going to restore the years the locusts have eaten. And God has been restoring my family. He's been restoring my boys. He's been restoring my relationships. And he's restoring all those hurts and all the wasted years. As hard as we try to be a perfect parent, and, Marty and I kept alcohol out of our home. We had our kids in church. They gave their hearts to the Lord at a very young age. You just never know what's going to happen. Some of those fears that you have, which I had, and they came to pass from people we trusted. And, but God has a plan. And I know that God can take, and I tell my sons this all the time, he's going to take what you've gone through and he's going to use it to help other people and for his glory. Yeah. Just thank God we have him, because if we didn't, we'd have fallen apart a long time ago. Yeah. I think that going through life, we have different phases of our relationship with the Lord. I gave my heart to the Lord. I don't know if I mentioned it, that Marty and I, before we got married, we both gave our heart to Jesus, and he gave us a brand new life. But there's a lot of things in your life that you don't deal with until things come up. I thought I was a great Christian and I had faith of Moses, But then when my boys became addicted to oxycodone and Marty got sick, your faith is tested. And then you start realizing there's things inside you that need to be taken care of, that you never learned to deal with those things. And God, through those experiences, has caused me to grow and depend on him so much more. When things were good, I believed in God and life was great. But now there's a dependency on him. There's a hunger to know him more and to really walk with him daily. I think it's a lifetime walk with the Lord. It's a learning process. It's a healing process for the rest of our lives until we get home. The hardest part for me was to walk in to Celebrate Recovery and admit that I have not got it all together. That behind this mask is a lot of pain and suffering, and it's hard to ask for help, and it's hard to be open with people and let them see what's the real you, and that still outside of Celebrate Recovery is still a little bit difficult, but I'm learning to let God use me so that I can help somebody else. And if that means being vulnerable and telling them, my story and letting them know how hard life can be, but yet we have somebody with us who will never leave us or forsake us. He is always with us, whether you're going through good or bad times, he's with you. And it's the bad times, it's those hard times when we really grow, because I have grown so much closer to him through those, because I'm dependent on him. Somebody asks you, are you fine? You go, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's fine. He goes, but it's not. You're broken. Some of us are broken, and we don't want to face that brokenness. So we can't heal unless we admit, just like anything else, like an alcoholic or a drug addict, until we admit we need help, we're going to stay in our brokenness. That's the important thing, is people need to know that there are other hurting people and they're not alone. They're not alone in their struggles. Absolutely. And so when I get discouraged and things don't seem to be moving fast enough, I remember his promises and I stand on them. And so right now I'm a work in progress. I take one day at a time. I follow Jesus one day at a time, and he's going to make our pathway straight. And I remember someone said this in CR, that one of our pastors here said that CR is like the emergency room of our church. It's a place where people go who are hurting. And so I just want to encourage anyone if they're hurting, that there's help available. And God is the healer. And Jesus is the reason we go. He's the one that actually is the one that is helping us to heal. As we seek him, he brings the healing. So thank you for letting me share.